Greetings. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about another divination method, and that is scrying. Now, I just want to start this lesson by explaining to you again why we're spending a month learning about scrying. And that is because whenever you cast a spell, you're going to want to know a few factors about that before you begin the work. The main thing is, will the spell be worth your effort? Is it the right spell to do? And even if it's a pendulum, yes or no, that's going to give you a little bit of spiritual insight into, are you on that right track? Additionally, maybe you want to learn or ask the scrying mirror for some spiritual answers and guidance about the situation. Maybe your ability will be able to look into the past, maybe it's the present, maybe it's the future. Maybe you're able to see spirits in the mirror, and that'll be your confirmation that spirits are around you. There's many different ways that you can use this mirror. We'll get into that in a second. But some of the other divination methods, they're going to be more appropriate for you or not, depending on which sense of yours is the strongest. So because it is such a skill that takes a while to perfect or to learn, I'm really asking for you to do that right now so you can get the most out of any magical course. What will happen generally is by the time we get into lessons about the spell casting, you're going to feel quite frustrated because you're not getting any spiritual feedback. You know, you'll do a spell and then you'll be asking, I don't know if it worked or not. And I'll ask you, did you pull some cards on that? What did the tarot cards say about that? What did the pendulum say about that? What did your spiritual guide say about that? Or whichever spirit that you've decided to work on or with. The first month you picked some spirits that you're going to work with, and you're going to continue that relationship as well. So all of these are accumulating now into you building up your magical repertoire of energy. Okay, you've got the spiritual energy, you've got the magic from the divination and pulling in that to give you the answers. And then we're going to get into more of the magical practices. So for those of you who are saying, oh, I want to do mojo bags, I want to get into doing the voodoo dolls, I want to actually start on the spells because I see you doing spells, I want to do spells. That's going to come. But what you're learning is the ABCs before I teach you how to write a poem. Okay, so just hang tight. It's all good. So in this lesson, we're going to talk to you about the scrying mirror. So firstly, I've just taken a few notes here I want to hit on. As I said, you can look at the past, present, and future through a scrying mirror. For example, Nostradamus was very famous for using scrying mirrors to find out about future events. He would use a body of water, or basically a pool or a bowl of water, that he would look in there and he'd get these reflections, and he was able to actually visually see what was going to go on into the future. And of course he had to mask those messages because at the time that was a no-no to be able to have that ability or skill. Witchcraft, you'd be killed, right? Tribally, when we're looking at what our ancestors did, like in Australia, the Aboriginals, they'd be looking into a billabong, for example. The Indians would be looking into lakes. In Africa, different depending on which country they were from, they'd be looking into some reflective surface to try and connect with ancestors, typically, or depending on where they are. Some, like Aboriginals, maybe the nature spirits. Dreamtime type of messages coming through the ancestors' body of water, for example, all of that type of stuff. When it comes to modern magic or hoodoo or conjure, what we're really doing is using tools that we have around our house. Typically now we're using this type of scrying mirror. These are what you can buy in typical occult or witchcraft stores now. This one here is just glass. It's a cheaper version. It's blackened glass. I like this because I don't have to be too careful with it. But other people like the obsidian stone. That's a little bit more expensive, but it's said to be a better quality. That's sort of like the thing right now. Just make sure you get it a stand to put it on. That's important. Otherwise, what's popular as well is a good old crystal ball. So if you want to go down that route, you're going to buy yourself a beautiful crystal ball. And if you can't afford that, let me just say that if you use, for example, even your computer screen, when that's black, that makes a fantastic reflective surface. If you think about a a window at nighttime, you can not, if you can't see out, for example, at my holiday house back in Australia, there's a gigantic window and the backyard at nighttime is completely black. So you can't see out into the yard, okay? And so all I see is my own reflection in this dark black mirror. This is perfect for a scrying mirror. I just have to set it up with the candles, a bit of incense, and that's good to go. So I hope that helps you guys out there. On any budget, you can actually start to do this exercise. Now, of course, I'll have to say, in ceremonial magic, or for example, if you're doing black magic, we do use these mirrors as well. Some people like to connect to angels, other people connect to demons. This is all specific rituals that you're doing, and the purpose of those rituals is to really connect to that specific spiritual energy. So for you, if you're actually wanting to connect to one of the spirits that you've decided to work with, you've decided that from the previous month, then maybe you want to call to them through this scrying mirror, and just see what message you're going to, don't have any expectations, just see what message comes through to you. Now, how do you actually work this mirror? I'll talk about the setup in a second, but how do you actually use the mirror? What I like to do is get into a relaxed state, and you can either do that through meditation, through trance. Tribally, you might get a little bit high off something, maybe kava, whatever you want to do, just to relax. And you don't want to be too relaxed that you forget about the purpose of the exercise, okay? Some people what I like to do is just to, I can use the mala beads, so I'll show you what I mean by them. These type of mala beads, or prayer beads if you want, and what you can just do is call out to the spirit using the prayer bead, and every time you call to the spirit or the energy, you just move a bead along, the same as you would in Catholicism, and you're just saying a prayer, getting into state, moving a bead along, so forth, until you feel really relaxed. And then when you look into the mirror, what you're doing is not directly looking into it, you're gazing your eyes. So I'll try doing this directly to you, but I don't know if it's going to work. So I'm not actually looking at you guys right now. What I'm actually doing is using my peripheral vision, and I'm able to see my hands, my fingers twinkling while looking straight ahead from here. So I've got this whole range of vision. My gaze is softened, and that way when I'm looking in the mirror with the softened gaze and the smoke is coming up, I'm able to relax and not use my conscious mind, but more go into my subconscious mind as well, and be able to use things like free association, where I can just be imagining or visualizing various things, or just thinking about nothing. Sorry, the frog's got in my throat because of the incense. I need to open a door. I'm dying. It just depends on you. So just get in a relaxed state, soften your gaze, right? And then when you're looking into the mirror, then maybe you want to ask a question or two, right? You might call forth a spirit to give you answers. You might just state a question. I'm seeking answers for X, Y, and Z. Or I'm calling to any spirit to make themselves known. Whatever you want, you just say it to the mirror and see what happens. It'll be really interesting to get your feedback from this exercise. The thing is, it does take some time, because initially you're going to be very judgmental about what it is that you see. So if you do see something in the reflection of the mirror, and typically it'll be in the corners, you might think, no, it was just something else. What I'd like you to do though, whatever you see, I want you to write down immediately after you do the exercise, because you will forget it and before you have a chance to judge it, okay? Sorry. Okay. So that being said, and before I die, what I want to do is show you the setup here. So the best way that I recommend you do this is have the mirror sitting on a box and the mirror itself is on a slant. Okay, that's standing here, and what you're really doing is you're looking into the mirror dead on with that, so you can see your whole face in that mirror. Okay, so, or basically you can see your eyes, and there's some background that's able to be seen as well. I like to put 2 candles either side of the mirror, and what I'll do is I'll have my incense burning, and the incense is finished right now, hence why I'm choking, but the incense will be burning right in front of the mirror itself. And don't have a large incense burner. Like if I had this one here, it's going to be too tall and the incense sticks will be burning up too high. I'm going to have it so it's much lower, and so the incense will be burning at a much lower level. Let me just grab another incense stick so I can show you. These videos are just going to be really rustic, right? I'm going to teach you like it's a classroom situation throughout this class. So the incense is just basically at the lower level of the mirror, and the smoke is drifting up over to the screen, and that just adds to the effect. In witchcraft, what you do, of course, you ring a little bell calling maybe to the spirits to be present. There's many reasons why you use a bell. You don't have to in Hoodoo at all, but some people like to, you know, use drums, for example, or some people might use a singing bowl. It's not necessary at all. I'm just used to doing ceremonial magic style of rituals as well, so I've got a few other things here. But if you have a blackened surface, 2 candles either side of the mirror, not tall candles, you want them at a lower level, the incense stick at a lower level, and you're just going to stand in front of in the mirror, soften your gaze, okay, and then just, you can either use free association or think of nothing or ask questions and just see what comes to you. If you might want to test that with by writing 3 specific questions that you want to do this exercise with day after day. Maybe call to a different spirit every day and see who you have the most connection with. But I think it's always nice to learn how to at least set up for scrying and to give it a try and see what works for you. If you have any questions, every Thursday I'll be answering questions about this course and getting back to you. Okay? Blessed be one and all. Bye for now.